The concerns of Police Survivors Truck Series continues here tonight at Watkins Glen in the Robin Doucette Memorial. My name is William Tiller. I am joined by Jake Reeves, and of course, Dean Hopton is the man providing all the sights and sounds of tonight's race. It will be right hand turns, left hand turns. We're coming off the heels of a big win from Jeff Merck 1 week ago. Jake, we're going to go road course racing here in these playoff races. What are the folks in store for here at a road course that everybody knows?
Yeah, I mean Watkins Glen. I mean it's a very fantastic race course, I guess you could say. I mean it is a racetrack, obviously, Will, but it's more of a course, I guess you could say, for the road course people out there. I know I keep saying road course. Well, that's exactly what it is. This track's got numerous turns, 8 turns, and thankfully we're using the cup side of it. Obviously, a lot of different configurations in this track, but you see right here going into the bus stop, this is a turn that you're going to see big time. This right here is where you're going to see a lot of crazy action going into that bus stop because it's a very quick right-hander, then a left-hander, then back to the right and back to I mean, it's just a crazy corner. These S's, they're going to be crazy. The carousel is going to be crazy. This whole track, it's going to be a road course driver's playing field, I guess you could say. And check out these playoff grids right here. Obviously, Jeff Mert getting the win. You see Keith Bradley got a huge lead. I mean, honestly, I mean, he could actually take the next couple of weeks off and he should be good to go. But then you look right here, Will, at that playoff cut line right there. You see a lot of guys right there. Michael McKinnon, Justin White, Raul Meza, Stephen Thomas right there on that cut line with Cody Knott, Brandon Bullock, and Zach Hartwig. And Brandon Bullock, if you remember correctly, he won at Atlanta just 2 races ago to be in this situation right here, Will. So I'm telling you, I mean, that's just how crazy these playoffs can get, and that's how crazy everything can get jumbled up.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you throw a road course in the mix, just a big monkey wrench into everything. And you look at some of those names. I'm looking at Justin White, Raul Meza, Stephen Thomas, even Michael McKinnon. This is a race that could break them here tonight. You want to stay calm. You want to stay patient. Don't press it too hard. If you don't have the truck that's going to get you to victory lane, that's okay, Jake. You can still walk away with some great points. You head to the last race of the Sweet 20. You can lock yourself in to that next round. But a road course is going to bring us all those unpredictable things that we're hoping for here tonight, as it looks as though the field is locked in. And Keith Bradley, of course, the animal in that 29, he's on top of that scoring pylon right now.
Yeah, I mean, usually we see him doing a lot of crazy things on the oval side of it. I mean, we've seen him, notch numerous wins this season. Check it out, Ashley Dodson gonna be right there beside him on the start of the race. But you just mentioned Michael McKinnon. Check him out right now, sitting P3. That is big time right there for Michael McKinnon to come out here and try to put down a good lap, be able to be up there at the front, which is where he needs to be to get as many points as we just mentioned. He needs to get as many points that he can, make sure that he is going to be above that cut line. At least before the next week, because Homestead is next week. That's going to be a crazy race right there, Will. It's going to be crazy there, but it's going to be real interesting to see what happens on these starts right here because, as you know, Will, and there's something, that we got to figure out here if they're going to go all the way and they're not going to have a stage break. If they're not going to have a stage break, this thing can get strung out big time, and we could see a lot of numerous strategies going on as far as fuel.
Yeah, that's one of those key pieces of information here at the road course in the concerns of Police Survivors Truck Series. But it looks like we're ready to rock and roll in the Robin Doucette Memorial here tonight, as Keith Bradley will take the pole position in that 29 machine. He'll roll opposite of Ashley Dodson, the man out of Australia, in that 88. Michael McKinnon, you talked about a great starting position here tonight inside of that top five. Third. Fourth will be Kyle Hess in that 86. Fifth, Phil Pappas in 85. Jeff Merck, last week's winner in that 60 machine, 6th. Blake Lowson in that 43, 7th. And Adam Newton in that 19th, 8th. Rounding out our top 10 is the Joker, Joey Doucette in that 16 machine, and Ed Osborne in the 42.
James Morris will start in the 11th spot. Zach Hartwick will be right beside of him in row 6 in P number 12. Or, excuse me, in P6 in spot number 12. Chris Cinnamon, he'll be 13th. Justin Lumpkin will be 14th. Dana Shepard will be 15th. Chris Blanchard in the 16th spot. Huck Wigginton in 17th. Raul Meza in 18th. He's the last driver to take a time. And then the rest of these guys are going to be starting right behind him, which as far as Klinkart, Wade, Thomas, Sickles, Robbie Richards, a bunch of guys that's going to be back here in the back that did not take a time. So maybe, well, these guys that are starting at the back with the likes of Robbie Richards, Cody Knott, Brandon Bullock, all those guys that's in the playoff grid that you just saw, they may be easing back here in the back for one reason, and the only reason that I can think is just waiting for a pileup here, maybe later on here in the race, just waiting for a pileup maybe on the start and then shoot right through it and get as many spots as you can.
Yeah, as the field begins to get fired up here on the front stretch, looks like Barney just got the call up there on the flag stand. And Jake, it looks like Justin White in that 2 will be down pit road here to start, but that pace truck will take us down the front stretch. As we watch through this warm-up lap here, Jake, how does one conquer a road course? You know, these guys are very, very good at those super speedways, those high banks. We've gone to short tracks this season. This is different for some of these guys. Now, of course, we're going to have one of those road course ringers. For some of those guys that want to master this track, what do they need to do to finish inside of that podium position?
It's all about braking points, and it's all about throttle management, honestly, Will. I mean, that's exactly what it is. You got to be able to hit your braking points right. You can't slide the tires. You can't slam on the brakes, slide the tires going through, especially turn 1 and even the bus stop, which is going to be very, very crucial. And you'll see that. We already saw what turn 1 was. They're going through the S's right here, go down this long back straightaway, and they're going to run smack dab into the bus stop. That's what it's going to be. They got to get to that corner. They got to go down through the gears, third, second, even first at some point. They may end up going to first gear, but usually you don't here in the trucks. You usually just keep it in second, third, or fourth. Here is the bus stop that I was talking about as you're riding on board right there with Ashley Dodson as they go through it. Right, left, left, right, and then going around in a carousel. I mean, honestly, Will, as soon as I just said that, right, left, left, right, and then in a carousel going around, I sound like that guy on Happy Gilmore as soon as I just said that, honestly. But that's what you feel like. You're basically, you're just going around and around, but you're going left, right. You just got to keep yourself composed. You got to make sure that you hit your braking points right, hit your shifts right, and be careful coming off of the corner. Because if you're not careful coming off of the corner, you give it a little bit too much gas. You got to still have that egg under that pedal, give you some momentum, be able to get around the corner. Because if you don't, you can easily spin that truck out. So a lot of factors go into being able to conquer here at Watkins Glen, Will.
Absolutely, and I like how you said egg under the pedal, not pillow this time. I like the
Appreciate
pillow
that.
reference a little bit better here, Jake, as we watch the pace truck peel off. We are ready to rock and roll here at the hills of Watkins Glen. Let's get it going. The second race of the Sweet 20, the Robin Doucette Memorial, is on and rocking into corner number 1.
Ashley Dodson going to be to the left or outside, if you will, of the Animal Keith Bradley. Bradley's going to jump it down to the bottom and take away the lead. Back behind them, we got side-by-side battles all the way around. Phil Pappas down on the bottom. Jeff Merck trying to find a way around him. He was down on the bottom. Now he's up top as they go through the S's and head for the bus stop on the first lap.
Yeah, as Keith Bradley leads the way in the 29 machine, he's looking good. Ashley Dodson there, Michael McKinnon in that 13. A few battles here as everybody's getting warmed up. We'll come through the bus stop here, Jake. Everybody's clean so far, looking good. The top 5, top 10, everybody's single file around the Glen.
Keeping it clean, keeping it green here at Watkins Glen. Everybody trying to hold on to what they got. Kyle Hess, he's going to slip back just a little bit. Jeff Merck jumps by him. Phil Pappas tries to take a run at him, and check it out. Robbie Richards, one of those guys that started at the back of the field. We're trying to get a confirmation on why that is. Could have been an ELL report. Could have been that maybe he just wanted to start back there. But one of those guys that is in the playoffs really needing to get a good run tonight. Hopefully he can jump up through there and get him a good and be able to get in a good running position.
Yeah, checking out those penalties from last week here. Jacob Klinkart served a no qualifying. Brennan Bullock in the 17, no qualifying. Jonathan Munda, Stephen Thomas, Robbie Richards, all with the same penalties from last week. No qualifying from incidents from last week's race. They were served here at the Glen. Lap number 2, Keith Bradley still leading the way.
Keith Bradley really trying to make it look good, trying to go ahead and lock himself into the playoffs. Really had a damn good shot, honestly, Will, last weekend at Darlington, but was not able to get it pulled off. But looks like he's doing pretty good out here right now. As you see Justin White back here in the back right here on the replay, maybe a little bit slow trying to hold on to the truck. Just straight up loses it, but we stay green. Wow, I mean, everybody's slipping and sliding, just trying to find some grip out here on this road course.
Yeah, I saw Justin White down pit road when this race started. There's Justin Lumpkin. Oh my goodness, that could have been disastrous there as the 18 machine got completely sideways. Other trucks there avoided him as the rest of the field is single file. A few battles are brewing up around the racetrack as Robbie Richards just got around Raul Meza in that 37 machine. The rest of the field, though, very calm here. As you mentioned, Jake, everybody's starting to get settled in as we're going to go to lap number 14. Will be the end of stage number 1. What we usually do here at Nazareth is we roll through that first stage. Whether or not we break at number 14, we'll wait and see. But, Jake, we're moving and grooving so far here at the Glen.
Yeah, and the man that's putting down the lap times right now, big time, is the animal, last season's champion, Keith Bradley. Really putting down some lap times, big time. Last time put down a 1:13.759 to Ashley Dodson's 1:14.253, almost over a second faster than the second place driver. So the animal Keith Bradley started on the pole. This is exactly where he wants to be. Just trying to get as many points as he can. Get those playoff points because you'll be able to carry them over in the next round.
Yeah, and for the 29 machine and Keith Bradley, to not be the first driver locked into the next round after becoming our regular season champion. And Jake, I would argue and say that he had his worst finish of the entire season last week, finishing 5th in that race. He led 5 laps in that race as well, actually finished 13 seconds off the pace. I think here tonight maybe out for a little revenge to make sure he's locked in the next round as the field heads into the corner. We ride on board with Adam Newton in the 19.
Yeah, Adam Newton got right on that curb, got that truck sideways, got the DSR electric on the hood. But check out Blake Lothian right here. Blake Lothian, one of those guys we have seen here in the Concerns of Police Survivors Truck Series, as well as the newly named DSR Electric Truck Series. Actually called a race with him last night on the Nazareth 360 Racing Network. Done a fantastic job as he did. And check out Chris Blanchard, one of those guys that is really, really big on the super speedways, just trying to be able to get it around here. Check out the likes of Phil Pappas. Phil Pappas, remember, actually won at the Milwaukee Mile earlier on this season, Will, but he did not have enough full-time starts, I guess you could say, or not have enough of starts in the regular season, so he had to forfeit his playoff spot. But now here he is out here running very comfortably inside the top 10, running 6th.
Yeah, oh yeah, very talented driver behind the wheel of that 85 machine. Very comfortable. You mentioned they're in that 6th position. This is where you want to be here. You want to get warmed up on those Goodyear Eagles. You don't want to feel too much pressure, but you also don't want to be too far outside of that top 5. Feeling good so far as we cruise on board. We'll check in with Chris Cinnamon in that 3, again rocking that baby blue Bass Pro Shop machine. It looks like he might have a battle on his hand. He's looking to the inside. I believe that is the 48 machine of Robbie Richards ahead of him.
Yeah, I mean, and Cinnamon trying to come from the back, trying to slide up here, if you will, trying to get going, trying to get everything he can. Actually, that's Ed Osborne that he just shot around him. So move Cinnamon up another spot, jump him up there in that top 10, which is where he needs to get that extra stage point to try to be able to get himself further away from that cut line, riding on board once again with Phil Pappas. Pappas starting to close in on Kyle Hess for that 5th spot. And, I mean, you know, these positions back here, I mean, granted, they are just for, obviously, you know, they're for a position on the track. It's for a top 5. It's for a top 10. in Chris Cinnamon's eyes. But these are stage points, like we said. When we get to that lap 14, they will convert them into stage points. And as we talked about, that cut line wheel is very, very tight right there by numerous drivers.
It absolutely is, and it's these races that count the most. Those middle races in these rounds. You mentioned it. We're going to go to Homestead next week. That's the elimination race, so you can't put all your chips in that basket. You want to try to squeeze as much lemonade out of this lemon of a race that is here at the Glen as you can. We'll check in with last week's winner, Jeff Merck. He's comfortable in that fourth spot, actually up 2 spots to the drop of the green flag. He's a man on a mission. He's got his sights set on Michael McKinnon, who's on the podium in third spot.
Yeah, and McKinnon, like we said, he's right there at that cut line needing a good run tonight. Looks like he's got that truck settled in. I mean, honestly, he's actually let Bradley and Dodson just get away big time. It was actually 5 seconds at the line the last time. We'll see what it's like when he gets to the line right here. But check out Brandon Bullock back here battling with Dana Shepard, trying to jump up a little bit. As we mentioned, Brandon Bullock, talked about him, won at Atlanta 2 weeks ago. I was actually in that race. That was a crazy finish how that thing all ended out anyway. But Brandon Bullock getting into the playoffs, coming around Dana Shepard, trying to move back up through the field, trying to get up here and try to get inside the top 10, get him some stage points.
Yeah, absolutely. Dana Shepard in that 45 has just been getting better and better each week. And here tonight at the road course, he's in a battle. This is a hornet's nest back here, Jake. A lot of drivers jockeying for position. Jacob Klinkart back here in that 5. You see him on your screen just above him. Brandon Bullock in that 17 truck. You mentioned him, and Taylor Peacock in that 81. He's up 9 spots in this race. So all these guys here that qualified, outside of the top 10 have put in some work here early on. 7 laps in to be up 9 spots. Great run so far out of the 81.
Yeah, and a bunch of these guys had EOLs, as you mentioned, Will, that had to start back there. Brandon Bullock was one of them. I believe Jacob Klinkart was one as well. Wow, Dana Shepard, Taylor Peacock, they get into it right here at the bus stop. Looks like Dana Shepard's going to get the worst end of it, but Taylor Peacock did not give a damn and just sent it in there. And Dana Shepard, bad spot for him to go. I mean, he tried to come down, didn't know Peacock was coming in there. Check this out right here on the instant replay. Peacock has a run, but he is way back from Dana Shepard. And wow, I mean, just straight up sends it in there. Peacock tries to come down, not able to do it. Peacock actually clips the guardrail just a little bit, but Dana Shepard gets the worst end of it, slips around. I'm sure that they may be exchanging, they're exchanging some words right now in race chat, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'd love to look at the onboard of the 45 machine for the wheel to jerk that hard there, Jake. I'd have to imagine some sort of equipment failure. You see here the 45, it doesn't look like a natural wheel movement to me as we enter this bus stop. Look how quick this wheel gets away from him right here on the entry of the bus stop. Just,
oh, wow.
Yeah, that's at a completely 90-degree angle there.
Yeah, I think what it was I think he actually locked the brakes up right there. He probably was looking in his mirror and he saw that Taylor Peacock had a huge run. Honestly, I thought he jerked it hard to the right and was trying to come down to hit the curb, but I think he locked the brakes up, slammed on the brakes, and the back end of the truck just kind of slid out just a little bit. And then obviously tried to correct it, tried to pull it back to the left right there, got into Peacock. I mean, he was going to let Peacock have it, but I think he knew that he was going to end up missing the corner. And, I mean, you got one eye out the windshield, you got one eye in the mirror, and then he just missed the corner right there. Back end came around right there. I mean, it's unfortunate for Dana Shepard and also Taylor Peacock.
Absolutely, as we jump on board with the 88 machine of Ashley Dotson riding in that second spot. And I love these onboard cameras here at the road courses. You get to watch everything, Jake. You get to watch the hand movement. You get to watch the gear shift. For Ashley Dotson, though, he's whipping this thing all around, coming around the rumble strips here through the bus stop. He is heavy on the wheel here, 9 laps in. You talked about how important this first stage is. I think Ashley recognizes that as well, as he is heavy on the wheel here early on in this stage.
Not surprising to see Australian up there running in the top 5, much less the top 2 right behind Keith Bradley. As you see him all over the track trying to use every little bit. Look at this wheel movement as he come off the last turn. I mean, literally, he was sawing on the wheel just trying to keep that 88 truck straight. Check out some of this other stuff going on back here. That is Raul Meza in the 37 as they went in the bus stop. He overdrives it, hits the curb, and spins it out. So, wow, I mean, these guys, I mean, folks, this is a very, very hard racetrack to try to get around. Check out James Morris right here. Seeing him, he just comes straight out of the bus stop, just straight up loses it right in front of the 12 of Zach Hartwick. So, I mean, wow, I mean, this is a very, very tough road course to try to get around, Will.
Absolutely, and I think it's bus stops in general. We all loved bus stops as a kid as we waited for the school bus in the morning. But as a race car driver, these bus stops, the ability to have to downshift, also brake just a little bit if you come into the entry too hard, then you have to turn two different directions, get back onto that gas, get back onto those gears. It's all three things in racing that you have to do in a matter of milliseconds, Jake. It is a crazy, you watch it right here. How hard is this on a corner to get back on the gas, get back on the gears, on the wheel? Just such a difficult aspect of this racetrack.
And you got to be very careful when you hit those rumble strips right there. When you hit the rumble strips coming off of the carousel, it can really upset the truck. It can really start to jack it sideways, get it out of control. So these guys got to be very careful about that. Will, you talking about bus stops? Honestly, I was the one that was waving at the bus when it was leaving. I was ready to get the hell out of school and get home and do whatever I wanted to at the house. So I wasn't waving at the bus when it was showing up. I was waving at it when it was leaving. But Stephen Thomas finding a way, gets around Joey Doucette, move him up another spot, put him up there in that 9th spot, move Joey Doucette back to 10th. And then check out Chris Sentiment. Really starting to make a little bit of a gain. Started 13th. He's going to be cracking inside that top 10. But Stephen Thomas, he started in 20th. And here he is up here trying to hold on to a top 10 spot as well.
Right on board the 3 machine here, 11 laps into the Robin Doucette Memorial Race in the Concerns of Police Survivors Truck Series. Right through here, the bus stop. Look how difficult that is. Oh my goodness, is the 3's going to lose some speed. Oh, gets a little squirrely there, Jake. Holds on though. He's going to keep that position there. Chris Cinnamon in the 11th spot here finds himself behind Joey Doucette and Stephen Thomas, who's a hard charger so far, up 11 spots in this race.
Yeah, and not only him, I mean, Brandon Bullock, he's been up numerous spots as well. Brandon Bullock back here started 26th. He's all the way up to 14th. Check it out. Meza, he's just got a handful at this point. We've already seen him lose it a couple of times. He's just trying to keep that 37 as straight as he possibly can. But, folks, we talked about it. I mean, this is a very, very hard track to get around. I mean, even for the best drivers here in the Concerns of Police Survivors Truck Series, it is a very, very much handful, even for the best out here.
Yeah, and for the 37 machine, Raul Meza came into this race only 1 point above the cut line. So no matter what he has to do in this race, Jake, he has to keep that 37 running. Keep it on the racetrack. Do whatever you got to do. Throw some duct tape on it, whatever. Keep that 37 Serve Pro machine running in this race to make sure you acquire as many points as possible. Can't afford to drop too far going into Homestead next week.
Yeah, you don't want to drop too far. I mean, that's going to be the track to where you're going to have to really start watching your tires. Check this out. Huck Wigington, very, very slow on the racetrack, right in front of our leaders, Keith Bradley and Ashley Dodson, both of them able to get away. And they'll fall into the clutches of Michael McKinnon right here in just a second back there, holding down that 3rd spot. But check this out right here. I mean, Keith Bradley, we saw the qualifying time that he had. He was actually 3/10 faster than Ashley Dodson in qualifying. But Ashley is not going to be denied tonight. Bradley, as we mentioned, very high up in the points, 56 points ahead of the cut line. Dodson not too far behind him. But, I mean, these guys are teammates. This is Mission 1 Esports up here, basically rocking the lead here at Watkins Glen. Dodson's got to be thinking a little bit differently here. Bradley, he's easily should be locked into the next round. Dodson, he'd love to get a win and go ahead and solidify Mission 1 Esports having 2 drivers into that next round.
That sounds all good and perfect, but do you think the animal, the 29 machine, will give up this lead here at the Glen? We've seen this performance before at a Keith Bradley in the 29 machine. He's dominated at these road courses, and here with just a few laps to go in this stage, it looks as, oh my goodness, that's a big slide out of that corner. That might kill some of that momentum as we have just 2 laps to go in this stage.
2 laps to go in the stage, and they're still rocking and rolling all the way around it here at Watkins Glen. Check out Jeff Merck back here. He's in a battle right now, trying to get around Michael McKinnon. He actually did get around Michael McKinnon. So put Jeff Merck up to the 3rd spot. Actually, he hasn't got around him just yet, but he has reeled him in a hurry. Jeff Merck won last week, locked himself in at Darlington, trying to see if he can get up here to a podium finish. But McKinnon, we talked about him right there on that cut line, needs as many points as he can to try to go ahead and jump that cut line. But Merck is not trying to make it easy on him. As I'm telling you, these two right here, they're going to be dogging it out right here for this 3rd spot. Check them out.
Yeah, we have a stage break on lap 14. This could be the last lap of stage number 1 here as Jeff Merck and that 60 machine is sliding off the corner. You're seeing drivers now getting a little more on that gas pedal as Keith Bradley at 29 machine still our race leader. Ashley Dotson there in 2nd as the field, though, Jake has spread out just a little bit. But look at the performance so far out of that 29. He goes wire to wire in stage number 1.
Awesome job for the animal, Keith Bradley. Dodson didn't make it easy on him, I promise you. I mean, he was literally all up in his tailgate, if you will. But Dodson's still not making it easy on him. As you see, we're still under green. Nobody's threw the caution yet on the field. So Dodson really starting to try to put the pressure on Bradley. But stage points have been awarded right here at the lap 14 mark. So Bradley getting the win of that stage. Dodson gets 2nd. McKinnon able to hold off Jeff Merck for that 3rd spot, get him some extra stage points. With McKinnon in 3rd, Merck in 4th. Kyle Hess gets 5th. Phil Pappas will get 6th. Blake Lothian 7th. Adam Newton 8th. Stephen Thomas from 20th up to 9th. And Joey Doucette able to hold off Chris Cinnamon for that final spot to get some stage points. But, well, I mean, these guys are still running hard up here. They know what's going on here at Watkins Glen. Fuel strategy is going to be about 28 laps, but they can go a little bit longer with the shifting points, with the throttle control. They can go a little bit longer than that.
All right, looking at around 30 laps or so in that window, or a little bit more than that. Jake, 15 laps in to the Robin Doucette Memorial here at Watkins Glen on the Nazareth 360 Racing Network on this fantastic Friday night. As we're right on board now with the Joker of Joey Doucette in that 16. And Jake, we've mentioned it throughout these broadcasts here the last couple of weeks. We were absolutely 16 strong, but he's going to be 16 strong right now to hold off Chris Cinnamon in that 3, who is a man on a mission right now, who is now inside of the top 10 in that 10th spot.
And Doucette's actually hitting pit road right now, so he may be trying to split this up just a little bit, trying to split some of this race up to try to go in and get 4 fresh tires and be able to shoot back out there, because tires will be a big factor here this evening. Check out Phil Pappas right here trying to hold off Blake Lothian. Lothian, we talked about him. Lothian, one of those guys that I called a race with last night. He done a fantastic job with a lot of knowledge in these trucks. Also, he has ran some late model races in real life, folks, and actually has some starts in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series for real. So this guy right here, this is a guy that's got a lot of skill in these trucks. Look for him to have a very, very good run here tonight at Watkins Glen.
Absolutely. As we're just settling in 16 laps into this race, Blake Lothian in that 43 truck. He looks to the inside, now follows back behind the 85 of Phil Pappas through the corners here. And you see that flow through that road course right on that back bumper of the 85. He's going to nudge. Oh, no. Big contact as the 85 looks as though he heads down pit road, though, but got a little nudge from the 43 of Blake Lothian as we're down the front stretch. It's Kyle Hess and the 85 of Phil Pappas down pit road.
Yeah, I don't think Lothian actually knew that he was going into the pits right there. Probably didn't even know Kyle Hess was going into the pits. Usually, well, you know, from a driver's standpoint, a lot of drivers, they won't say that they're going into the pits because for the simple fact they don't want other guys to know what kind of strategy that they're doing. Much like real NASCAR. I mean, granted, they may throw a hand out the window and wave, but obviously they can't do that in the sim. So they don't want to tell other drivers what their strategy is. They don't want to tell them, hey, I'm going down pit road right here. They don't want to say that because then it may lead other guys to follow them down and get on their strategy. They have their own strategy that they want to do. And I think that's what a lot of that was right there was, I mean, Lothian just didn't know that both of them was going to pit road because they didn't call it out.
And it's absolutely tough, and I think we're going to see that here tonight. Mixed bag of strategies, and here's 3 more trucks down pit road, including our second place driver, the 88 machine of Ashley Dotson. It's a little bit more crowded down pit road here on lap 18.
Yeah, Dodson is actually going to be off strategy from the leader, Keith Bradley, his teammate. Bradley's still out there on the racetrack. Dodson, he is on pit road. Michael McKinnon's going to stay out there with Jeff Merck all over his tailgate. This is a battle for the second spot right here. As you see other drivers just now coming off of pit road, but great run right here by Michael McKinnon. He needs this run, as I mentioned earlier. He needs to have a good run. And that's what a lot of guys, honestly, Will, they may be coming into this. They may not be sitting there thinking that, hey, road course racing is my style. Honestly, Will, road course racing is not my style, honestly. As we've mentioned before, I'm kind of that old school oval racing. You see McKinnon getting a little bit in the grass right there, but these guys, they're just trying to survive. If you can survive and get a top 10 finish, get even a top 5 finish out of this, it's a win in their eyes, and I think that's exactly what Michael McKinnon is trying to do here this evening.
Yeah, you just want to get as many points as possible, finish on that podium, finish inside of the top 5. We're going to have those road course ringers. We're going to have guys that come out here that are absolute dominant at a road course. Here goes the 60 of Jeff Merck, though. Last week's winner, a little bit of an overdrive out of that last corner here down this beautiful front stretch at the Glen into that first corner. And there is that 13 machine of Michael McKinnon. This could be the race that he breaks through, Jake. The right strategy, the right way could put the 13 in victory lane.
Yeah, Jeff Merck was basically Tokyo drifting back there off of that last corner. I mean, he was just trying to hold on to it. But he's doing a fantastic job. And like you said, Michael McKinnon needs a good run, as I've mentioned before. A lot of these drivers needing a very good run. Brandon Bullock, he's up here inside of the top 10, sitting in that 7th spot right now. Obviously, he hasn't pitted like Ashley Dodson and some of these other guys has. But he needs a good finish tonight as we got other drivers on pit road.
More traffic down pit road here at the Robin Doucette Memorial, as it looks like Ed Osborne is down. The only truck down pit road, actually, there, Jake. He's going to be the only truck down pit road on lap 19. We'll see if his strategy pays off, as it looks as though other drivers are staying out, which includes the Animal the 29 machine of Keith Bradley, Michael McKinnon, that 13. Tragically, our entire top 5 still out on the racetrack here, 20 laps in at the Glen.
And here goes Merck. He's going to try to ease it down to the right side of Michael McKinnon, which will be the inside on this particular turn. McKinnon will give way. So put last week's winner at Darlington, Jeff Merck, up at the front. McKinnon's might slip down just a little bit, might have got loose off of the first turn. But Merck will go to second spot, leave McKinnon back in third. But this whole battle's still going on well behind the Animal Keith Bradley, who's got a 15-second lead over McKinnon and Jeff Merck. Bradley basically got that damn thing on cruise control here this evening.
Yeah, as we ride on board with that 29, we listened in there for a second as it cruised into the corner. And when you're ultra focused at a road course like this, Jake, you're essentially unstoppable. You're the Incredible Hulk out there. You don't like me when I'm angry, especially for the Animal here as he puts another lap in the books. For the 15-second lead, we're going to have some green flag pit stops mixed in as well, which could unfortunately increase that lead. It's going to be Keith Bradley versus Keith Bradley the rest of this race.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what it's going to be. And honestly, I mean, Keith Bradley does a fantastic job. As we see Michael McKinnon, he's going to jump on his strategy now. McKinnon is going to go down pit road. A lot of other guys staying out on the racetrack, so McKinnon will stay out there. See a bunch of other drivers going around. There's Ashley Dodson. He's still sitting, which will be the top 5 once he gets around Michael McKinnon, as McKinnon just now pulling into his pit box. Dodson's going to go around him. So, I mean, Bradley's got his own world right now, honestly. I mean, he is checked out right now, but I mean, these guys, I mean, it's like I said, they're trying to go with what strategy they can, trying to get what stage points that they can as well. And we mentioned it about the stage points. I mean, I believe it's like lap 35 when the next stage is. So, I mean, these guys right now, this is how road course racing is right here. As you see Robbie Richards going in, This is how road course racing is, folks. This is how it gets. It just gets spread out, and then it's all about strategy, about who's going to make a pit stop, who's going to get where. It's all about that.
Yeah, absolutely. As Brandon Bullock is now heading off pit road here on lap 22 as we watch Kyle Hess head through the bus stop there in the 86 machine. It's been a pretty good season there for the 86 machine of Kyle Hess. Of course, one of those championship drivers. He is right there in the mix coming into this race as the 5th speed. So great run so far out of Kyle Hess in that 86 machine, trying to better that spot as he's putting some pressure on Michael McKinnon into the corner.
Yeah, I mean, Michael McKinnon just trying to keep it going right here. Kyle Hess, we mentioned him. I believe he has already made his pit stop as well. So McKinnon already went down and already came out. So we'll see where he comes out right here. Nobody else really making a shot down pit road. Merck, he is on pit road right now. Newton's now coming down, but Lothian stays out, as well as the animal Keith Bradley, as he is just now going into the last turn. We'll see if the animal decides to go in as well.
We'll watch and see for our leaders to head down here. Yep, the leader is heading down now. Just got it across the radio. Keith Bradley in the 29 machine down pit road. Our leader heading down with a 23-second lead.
Animal Keith Bradley going down pit road. As you see right here, Lothian just now coming into the final couple of corners. So we'll see if Lothian decides to follow him down or maybe even try to jump out there and get a lap led. Looks like Lothian is going to go into the pits. So the first two guys going into the pits, Jeff Merck just now coming through the carousel. He's one of the guys back here with Ashley Dodson. Both of those guys, or actually Ashley Dodson now just coming off of the last turn. They're all scattered all over the place, Will. I'm clicking like crazy over here trying to find them. But with Keith Bradley just now coming off of pit road, we'll see how much time Ashley Dodson has made up on Keith Bradley. Bradley just now coming out. There goes Dodson. Dodson will leapfrog Keith Bradley as Blake Lothian was on pit road just a second ago as well.
And Blake Lothian still down pit road. He's in his pit box, getting a lot of work done on that 43 machine just now off of pit road. Must have been a full reset there for that 43 truck. That'll put him in that 7th position, as it looks as though the entire field now, Zach Hartwick will head down pit road in the 12. That will reset the entire field. Everybody is headed down pit road here on lap 23. But Jake, it's very interesting to see here, looking at our scoring sheet, every driver inside of the top 10 essentially has headed down pit road on a different lap. We have lap 17, 22, 21, 20, 16, 22. Just a mixed bag of pit strategies all across the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I was talking about. I mean, these guys have got their own strategies that they've got to play out right here. I mean, they've got their own mindset going into this race. This is not like Talladega where you would pit with your teammates or pit with some of your buddies or whatever. You got your own strategy that you got to go with, and that's exactly what it was. But I think with Ashley Dodson going in just a little bit earlier than Keith Bradley, obviously both of these guys had a huge lead, still got a huge lead over Lothian and McKinnon and Jeff Merck. I think with Dodson going in just a little bit earlier than the animal Keith Bradley, I think that's what got him this lead. As you see right here, McKinnon thought about going around the top side right here, Stephen Thomas, but thought better of it, backed out of it. Now he's going to be in a side-by-side battle with Kyle Hess as they go up through the S's.
Yeah, Stephen Thomas, though, a little BOGO action there. Got around Michael McKinnon, got around Kyle Hess. He's up 16 spots in this race. He's absolutely got his foot on the gas pedal, as now he has his sights set on last week's winner, Jeff Merck. He's about 2 seconds off of that position. We'll jump up here, though, with Ashley Dodson and Keith Bradley. This is a battle for the lead. We'll watch back to a replay of what happened when we were checking in here. Oh my goodness, that could have been disastrous for the 88 as he went so far out on that corner.
Yeah, I mean, he went way out there trying to see if he could give as much room to Keith Bradley as he could, but then dives it back down to the bottom. Still got this lap truck that they're having to deal with. That's Chris Blanchard in the 9, trying to find a way around him. Blanchard all the way down to the bottom. He's going to slip, jump right up in front of him. Dodson's going to get a little bit of contact with Blanchard. Blanchard goes head on into the fence, slams the inside wall. Robbie Richards, I think he got involved as well. Big time contact right here, all happening with the leaders and also in front of Taylor Peacock, another playoff driver. But I mean, well, that right there was bound to happen right there. Dodson jumped up. Blanchard wanted to get on the bottom. He locked the brakes up, slid up. Dodson went back up under him. I mean, it's damn if you do, damn if you don't at that point. But Dodson, he's trying to get around. He's trying to battle for the lead right here. Blanchard should not have been in that situation. He should have just pulled to the right, let the leaders slip right by him.
Yeah, we can't even watch that replay because here it is, though. We'll show you folks at home. We'll watch. Here's the 9 machine of Chris Blanchard. He goes very, very low in the corner, hits the rumble strips. Can't get as far as the corner as he wants. Ashley Dotson, though, comes out of the corner, makes contact with the 9. And just, oh, man, you just see that impact out of the 9 of Chris Blanchard. Unfortunately, looks like our hardest impact of the race so far.
I mean, and it's like I said, Will, that could have been straight up avoided 100% right there if Blanchard would have just pulled to the right and just let the leaders go right there. I mean, granted, I know he was going to be the first one lap down. He didn't want to give up a spot, but you just basically ended your race. You basically just screwed yourself, honestly, right there. Blanchard should have just pulled to the left, let the leaders go, and almost essentially just killed Ashley Dodson's race and could have killed Keith Bradley's race, and then that could have been big time for Jeff Merck, Stephen Thomas, Michael McKinnon, some of these guys back here that are just trying to ride and just trying to get some points. It could have catapulted them to basically battle for the lead and possibly a win to lock themselves into the next round. I mean, that was just crazy how that all worked out right there. I mean, I'm just baffled, honestly, Will, at why that even happened, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris Blanchard not in the championship hunt here in this series. Looking at that points table, and for some of those guys you just mentioned, if they would have been entangled in that, that could have been their season. It could have been everything just thrown out the window in one false move, but we do have some battles on the racetrack. There's Dana Shepard in that 45. A lot of guys here now a lap down. Dana Shepard a lap down. Raul Meza a lap down in this race. Justin Lumpkin, we saw the early issues out of the 18. Robbie Richards, same unfortunate race out of him. Cody Knott as well in that 26, all a lap down here. 27 laps in to the Robin Doucette Memorial.
Right now, it's still a Mission 1 Esports tango, if you will. Ashley Dodson has leapfrogged Keith Bradley after the pit stops that they had riding on board with Justin Lumpkin. Got Raul Meza. He's got a race, honestly, Will, that he would want to forget. Lumpkin and Meza both of them have got caught up in incidents. Meza spun out a couple times, hit the fence. Lumpkin spun out as well. Check out Phil Pappas back here, one of those guys we talked about as well. Right there on the cusp of possibly going a lap down to our leaders here in the next couple of laps. But, I mean, it's come down to the leaders, Ash Dodson and Keith Bradley. It's come down to them for the end of this race. But, Will, we just saw what happened with Chris Blanchard right there in front of the leaders. These guys back here, Merck, Thomas, McKinnon, Kyle Hess, all these guys back here, they still got a shot. Because, I mean, anything can happen on a road course. Even though they've got a 17-second lead over the rest of the field, anything can happen, and we just saw it a minute ago. So these guys still got to be digging back here in these spots.
Yeah, absolutely. And we watch another replay here. That's Dana Shepard in that 45 through the bus stop. 45 not liking the bus stop here tonight. The second time we've seen him here. Complete 360 there. I got to say, though, Tony Hawk would be proud with that 360 there in the bus stop. 45 machine of Dana Shepard. He's staying in this race, though. He's not totally out. No damage to that truck there. Just a self-inflicted wound. But one thing I want to bring up in this race, Jake, is Ashley Dawson in the 88 machine. And I think I know why he's racing so good here tonight, why he's on the top side of the grid, why he's been battling out there with the 29 machine of Keith Bradley. Is because he was our Flieger Farm Paint Shop Hard Luck Award winner from last week. We know the good fortune that comes with being the Hard Luck Award winner. Some guys take that award and go on to win the next week. Could be the 88 machine of Ashley Dotson here tonight.
I'll be honest with you, Will. I did not know that, but that is a big-time factor right there, and usually that happens in the Concerns of Police Survivors Truck Series, where if you get a Hard Luck Award win from the previous week, the next week, odds are you're probably going to win the damn thing, honestly, because we've seen that numerous times. We saw it with the animal Keith Bradley, saw it with what happened to him at the Milwaukee Mile. Ended up getting caught up in an accident, ended up not being able to finish the race. The next race, well, if I'm not mistaken, he won that next race. So, yeah, I mean, this happens right here. If you have a bad week, it's just like the next week, it just, I guess it just makes your truck not pass tech, and you're able to go out there and win the race. And then after that, you end up passing Tech. I don't know how that all works, honestly, but I mean, that's exactly what Ashley Dodson, I guess, needed. He needed a bad week to be able to get out here, try to lead this bad boy. And like I said earlier, he is from Australia in that matter. That doesn't hurt too much neither, because them guys out there, they know how to run these road courses.
Oh, absolutely. They know how to run trucks as well. That's their bread and butter. Trucks out there in Australia, those off-road vehicles. But he's got to contend with the 29 machine of Keith Bradley. This is the strategy out of the animal. Lays low during the race, really applies the pressure later on. You're seeing it here in this race again tonight. Laying back just a little bit, letting Ashley Dawson at 88 sort of do his thing. Let him lead a few laps. Reminder also, Jake, we have some green flag pit stops that will happen before the end of this race. And my question to you, will we see the same mixed strategy as we saw before, or be follow the leader in those last runs?
I'll about guarantee it right now, honestly, where you're going to see guys that are basically going to be on their strategy. Obviously, they don't want to pit till after the stage break ends. They don't want to pit till after that. They want to go ahead and make sure that they get their stage points, make sure that they get all of that lined up. And then after that stage break ends, I guess you could say, after they get their points, that's when you're going to see the mixed bag. That's when you're going to see possibly Doucette. We saw him go down first. He may end up going down first, or hell, he might just run it long and wait for some of these other guys to go in. He might run it long. So it's a mixed bag, honestly. I mean, nobody's really got a strategy that we can 100% call at this point. So basically, we're like the fans at this point. We're just waiting until they go down at this point, just like the fans is.
Yeah, and it's very different what we saw in that first stage as well. As we're creeping up towards the end of stage number 2, 2 laps to go here in this stage. A lot more competitive. We've seen a lot more battles for position here, as Keith Bradley, though, seems as though he's getting on the gas pedal a little bit more. We have a battle for the lead here up the hill as the 29 machine keeps looking to the inside. We'll ride on board here with the animal. A battle for the lead. This is absolute two heavyweights here. The concerns of Police Survivors Truck Series into the bus stop here. Who can master it? Who can keep it all together out of the corner? As Keith Bradley, though, looks as though he'll lose some speed on the exit of the bus stop as Ashley Dodson continues to lead.
Yeah, Dodson's sitting it in there very, very nicely, able to get away from Keith Bradley. Bradley's been up his tailgate, and then Bradley's also been back just a little bit here. He's been in all sorts of areas right there around Ashley Dodson, still trying to put the pressure on him. And, as we mentioned, obviously, both of these guys, Mission 1 Esports drivers with Brady LaBeouf. But these guys, even though they're teammates, they still want to get a win. They still want to be able to lock themselves into the next round. So Bradley's still going to keep putting that pressure on Dodson. Even though he's his teammate, he still wants to get up there and get the win. Check out some of these other guys back here, Stephen Thomas and Jeff Merck. This is a battle for third. Taylor Peacock pulls out of the way, lets him go. Jeff Merck going to be able to slip by right here and hold on to that third spot. Stephen Thomas still trying to give chase as they go into turn 1.
And right as that was happening, the 17 truck of Brendan Bullock actually headed down pit road, the first truck to head down here in this second window. And it looks like, though, he does have some heavy damage to that nose. A lot of these guys here, and that's going to be very unfortunate for that 17 truck. Taylor Peacock as well going to have a lot of damage in this race as the 29 machine of Keith Bradley right there. He's having some difficulty on those tires, Jake. He's not able to stick it to the racetrack as he wants to. And the craziest thing is he's on newer tires than the 88 of Ashley Dodson.
Yeah, he is on the newer tires, and he is still putting the pressure to him. Almost gets to his tailgate as they go into the last turn coming around. Should be one more lap to go in this stage. Can Ashley Dodson hold him off?
It.
No, that is it. That is the stage break. It was at stage 32, so we are going to get a caution right here, Will. Contrary to belief at this point, with a road course here, we are going to get a caution, and Ashley Dodson will be the beneficiary of winning in stage number 2. Bradley won stage 1. Ashley Dodson wins stage 2. Jeff Merck will finish third in stage number 2. Stephen Thomas gets fourth. Michael McKinnon fifth. Kyle Hess and Blake Lothian, 6th and 7th, Adam Newton, Chris Cinnamon, and Joey Doucette, the final driver to get a stage point. And, Will, this is when the intensity will pick up in a hurry.
Absolutely. And folks, this is your time to run to the refrigerator, grab your drink, grab your snack, whatever you got to do. You don't want to miss the end of this race here at the road course. But we'll step aside for our first break of the evening here at the Concerns of Police Survivors Truck Series. We'll be right back at the Glen in the Robin Doucette Memorial. Welcome back to the Glen here in the Nazareth 360 Racing and Network. We just saw an incredible stage battle, which we saw Keith Bradley win stage number 1. Ashley Dodson wins stage number 2. Those are all over with. It will be a shootout to the end in the Robin Doucette Memorial. My name is William Tiller. I'm joined by Jake Reeves, and Dean Hopton is the man providing all the sights and sounds here on the Nazareth 360 Racing Network. As we're back on the air here, the drivers have headed down pit road. Keith Bradley was down. Jeff Merck was down. Stephen Thomas. The only drivers that stayed out, Ashley Dodson in the 88. Jacob Klinkart and Blake Lothian will be drivers out there on that older equipment. As I bring Jake Reeves up here with me, and Jake, we watched those first 2 stages that got a little bit more spicy towards the end of that second stage.
Yeah, and, honestly, Blake, this is when, like I've said before, I mean, the stage 3 is when all hell breaks loose. And I think that's what you're going to end up seeing right here, especially on this restart with a couple of guys staying out right here, possibly trying to stay out for a little bit of extra track position. That's when this stuff's going to get very interesting right here. We're going to see guys that you're probably going to see guys make some crazy moves because honestly, well, I mean, you never really see a caution at a road course unless, there's about a 35-car pileup. Well, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, there's only 26 drivers out there in the field. So, I mean, you're probably not going to get that next caution that you think you may need. So, this restart right here, this is going to be the money restart. In my eyes, it is. I mean, obviously, still 30 laps to go. But this is going to be the money start right here. This is going to be where guys is going to dive it down in to the first turn. You're going to see guys make some drastic moves to try to leapfrog and try to jump up here to the front. So this is going to be a start right here, Will. It's going to be really crazy to see who can get in there fast, who can get gone. And Lothian and Klinkart, they need to get gone in a hurry that they didn't go in. So I'm telling you, this start's going to be fantastic.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a firecracker restart into that first corner. And once again, folks, if you're tuning in here tonight, whether it's on our YouTube channel at Nazareth Racing or on our Facebook page as well, go ahead and hit that like button, share. Go ahead and comment as well your favorite drivers. We read those live comments during the race as well. But, Jake, we can't let this restart go away without mentioning why tonight's race is the Robin Doucette Memorial. Unfortunately, one of our brothers here at Nazareth, Joey Doucette, suffered the unfortunate passing of his mom a couple of weeks ago, and we're all here at the Nazareth family, 16 strong, standing with the Doucette family. And Jake, the numbers that we have raised here for the Doucette family were absolutely amazing in such a short time frame. It just went a long way in helping Joey deal with such an unfortunate loss. And here at Nazareth, we're happy to announce there always will be a Robin Doucette Memorial race every season here on Friday night.
Absolutely, and we had the Robin Doucette Memorial Race also at Talladega, where we had the race where we raised a lot of money for the family, and I was a part of that race. I actually donated my part of my winnings to the family as well. So awesome to see that stay within Nazareth. But here we go, green flag in the air. This is the restart that I was talking about as they drifted off into turn one. Lothian tries to get away. Dodson trying to stay right with him. Merck almost gives Dodson a tap as they go into the corner. Clinkhart gonna slip up the racetrack, jump slap dab right in front of Keith Bradley as Lothian trying to get away. Ashley Dodson and Jeff Mark trying to give chase.
43 takes us up the hill. The 88 machine right there as well. Jeff Mark. Jacob Clinkhart up 15 spots in this race. They're single file climbing up. They're being nice so far. No! The truck wrecking back there. Oh my goodness. I believe that was Chris Cinnamon. That's absolutely sideways in the 3.
And Cinnamon's still down on the bottom, still trying to keep it straight.
Oh, he's got
Doucette's
something
going to go
broke.
around. Clinkhart's going to go around, coming out of the bus stop. A couple of guys getting T-boned as they come out of the bus stop. May warrant a caution, but maybe not. We're still green here at Watkins Glen. Clinkhart stuck in the grass trying to get away, but Lothian, Ashley Dodson, and Jeff Merck, all of them up front, still leading the way here at Watkins Glen.
As it looks like something broke on the 3 truck of Chris Cinnamon. He headed into the bus stop. He got loose. Other trucks got loose as well. As it looks like our leaders, they're antsy up here. These trucks are slip sliding on the racetrack with these cold tires, which you have a mix now with Ashley Dodson on older equipment, Jeff Merck on new tires, and Blake Lothian on tires that was last down pit road, lap 22. This race is absolutely crazy on lap 37. There goes Chris Cinnamon again.
Cinnamon slipping and sliding, goes straight into the fence as Clinkhart was trying to get around him, or one driver was trying to get around him anyway. These guys are basically giving it all they have right here as here comes Dodson down on the bottom of the racetrack, tries to slip past Blake Lothian, but wow, backs away. Lothian still got it as they come out of the carousel, still trying to slip and slide, trying to find a way around him.
We got a battle for the lead. We got a battle for the 3rd spot as well. Ashley Dodson is at the back bumper of Blake Lothian. Jeff Merck and Keith Bradley are going at it right behind these guys as well. And who would have thought Blake Lothian leading this race? Not a name that we've called out at all here tonight. As we look at this shot down the back bumper of the 43 truck, you can see that battle for the 3rd spot right on that camera here. Oh my goodness, what an absolute race we have down the front stretch.
This is shades from Marcus Ambrose and Brad Keselowski at this particular racetrack at Watkins Glen back in the late 2010s, if you will, about 2012, if I'm not mistaken. This is kind of crazy. Merck goes straight in the fence, head on into the wall right in front of drivers as everybody's still trying to scatter past him. So much crazy action. Well, I talked about it. All hell was going to break loose in stage 3, and it is breaking loose big time. Dodson goes to the top, slides the bumper, jumps back up top. Wow, Dodson really starting to put the pressure on Lothian. May end up tagging him, he does, as they go to the bus stop. Right in front of him is Keith Bradley stuck right behind him. Dodson still slamming Lothian as they go through the carousel.
Oh, yeah, pressure is an understatement. The 88 machine is absolutely on the back bumper, so much so he's making himself loose. He's causing himself some speed. Here comes the 29 machine of Keith Bradley, though, as we ride on board. He's looking for that opportunity to get around the 88 as well. The 88 machine may have overdone it. He may have given the 29 machine of Keith Bradley an opportunity. As you see, the 43 truck heavy on the brake on the entry of the corner. He knows the 88 is right there. As we're down the front stretch, we'll make it another lap in the books here at the Glen.
4-horse race right now. Lothian's got the lead. Dodson wants it. Bradley wants it. And Stephen Thomas wants it. About 3 seconds back is Michael McKinnon holding down the top 5. He may be in the catbird seat when all 4 of these drivers end up wrecking each other at this point. But Dodson, all up on the back bumper of Lothian, shoves him going through the S's, trying to go down the back straightaway. Dodson still trying to find a way around him. Goes to the left, goes to the right, jumps it back to the left, trying to get to his left rear quarter panel. Lothian sends it in very hard, jumps the curb, hits the grass, able to keep it straight. Hell of a drive by all 4 of these drivers up here at the front.
Yeah, and here comes Stephen Thomas in that 23 with everything that's going on in these top 3. Now we have a top 4 on the racetrack. As right now, Blake Lothian leading the way. Ashley Dawson, though, on those older tires. He's still able to hold it down. When will he head down pit road, Jake? It's going to be a lot sooner than the rest of these leaders as the laps here are ticking down. Joey Doucette in that 16. He is racing for that spot. He's inside of the top 10 with the 85 of Phil Pappas. Another battle on the racetrack. This is for the 7th spot. Joey Doucette has been slowly but surely moving up the grid. He's up 1 spot trying to make it 2 here with 26 laps to go.
He's still trying to find a way around Phil Pappas, try to see if he can jump up and get another spot here in the Robin Doucette Memorial here at the Watkins Glen International Racetrack. But I'm telling you, these 4 drivers up here at the front, Lothian, honestly, he's like the bandit. Honestly, he's like Burt Reynolds, as well as we got some more action going on back here. Guys spinning out, trying to keep the truck straight. But it's like I was saying, Lothian, he's like the bandit and Smokey and the Bandit. Dodson is like Buford T. Justice, just trying to catch him as much as he can. Meza, he ends up going around as well. But wow, I mean, so much is going on. It's like I said, you know, it was going to get crazy in stage 3, but I just didn't think it was going to get this crazy, Will.
And it's been crazy, absolutely out of the gates. It's the drop of the green flag here. Once the guys knew that stage racing was over, they knew only the flag that remained was the checkered flag. And these guys with 26 laps to go are racing exactly like it as the 88 machine of Ashley Dodson keeps trying for that lead. The 43 truck of Blake Lothian's done an incredible job this season. Actually holds the most wins of anybody this season, Jake, but with a part-time schedule, not eligible for that championship. But that hasn't stopped the 43 truck from going out and winning the races he's competed in. Trying to go, oh no! He gets very loose off of the corner. That's going to set up a side-by-side battle for the lead.
In the S's, Lothian down on the bottom, Dodson up on the top. Now he's going to go down to the bottom. Lothian will go to the top, gives way. Here comes Keith Bradley. Hell of a run through the S's, tries to jump to the top side. Lothian jumps up, puts the block on him. Bradley all up in his tailgate, finds a way, gets down to the inside. Lothian slams on the brakes right in front of Stephen Thomas, almost gets the back end caved in. But new leader is Ashley Dodson. I mean, Lothian, he put up a hell of a fight. He tried to keep the lead as long as he could, not able to do it as Ashley Dodson gets around him. Bradley gets around him. Now Stephen Thomas trying to find a way to get around him.
But look at that 43 truck as we ride on board with the 23 of Stephen Thomas. You can see that 43 sliding around the racetrack. It might be time for him to head down pit road. And if he's loose, I can only imagine what the 88 machine of Ashley Dodson is feeling. But you mentioned it, though. He is used to these style of races. The road course races doesn't look loose at all. And he's the guy with the oldest tires inside of the top 5.
Yeah, I mean, he is the oldest tires. Obviously, he decided to stay out at the end of that stage break. And honestly, I think he may be regretting that decision. But it's like you said, Will, he's on a part-time schedule. He don't care. He can go out there. He can throw, you know, whatever to the wall, see if it sticks. I mean, it is what it is. Just go ahead and just try something maybe a little bit different here in this race. And it looks like he tried it, but he might be regretting it. Thomas, wow, hell of a save down the backstretch. Almost lost the 23 truck. Wow, I mean, I almost jumped out of my seat right there, Will. But fantastic save by Stephen Thomas. keep the truck straight. I'm telling you, these guys, they're not saving anything. They are giving it their all up here, especially up here in the top 4. Check this out back here. Jeff Merck saw him spin it out earlier on in the stage. He's able to get by. Hartwick goes around straight into the fence. Wow. These guys, I mean, it's like I said, Will, this is a hard road course to get around. And believe it or not, it's actually more harder to get around this road course than, say, COTA, than, say, Infineon, because this track, it's so fast. You know, Infineon, not as fast. COTA, not as fast. Granted, it's got some straightaways that you can be fast on, but you are moving around this track right here. You got to be precise on every little thing that you do.
And when I'm looking at it too, I'm looking at lap times now, starting to creep into 115, 114, 116 out of Stephen Thomas with that slide just a little while ago. And what that indicates to me there, Jake, is that drivers are starting to feel it on those tires. Do you maybe apply that undercut strategy here? Head down pit road early as the other guys continue to suffer on those older tires. You have fresher tires, you get warmed up, you have that speed, while other guys are just heading down pit road. What kind of strategy would you think about applying here as we're about to have a battle for the lead?
Honestly, I'd run it as long as I could. Honestly, I mean, that's just my opinion. I would run this thing as long as I possibly could. I'd run it all the way to the end of where your fuel is. That's exactly what I would try to do. Now, say Bradley goes in, Dodson better go in the next lap. You know, I mean, that's what I'm thinking right now. Either that or split this stage in half. And that way you got equal all the way around. That's my two strategies. Either split down the middle or run as long as you possibly can.
As we watch right there, the 29 machine of Keith Bradley thought he had an opportunity. But maybe he knows, Jake. Maybe he knows the 88 of Ashley Dotson last headed down pit road, lap 17. He knows if he can linger. Oh no, he gets loose! So the 29 machine of Keith Bradley with a big mistake on the corner. He loses a lot of momentum. That'll now put 2 seconds between the 88 and the 29.
Wow, I mean, that is a big-time slide for Keith Bradley. One of the guys that you usually do not see have a slide like that. Usually he is picture perfect everywhere we go. But one little slip right there by the Admiral Keith Bradley. He was all up into the back of Ashley Dodson. Gives Dodson a lot of breathing room now. That's going to be very, very great for Ashley Dodson. I'm trying to find a word for it, but that's perfect for Ashley Dodson because now he doesn't have a lot of pressure on his tailgate. But now Bradley's starting to get some pressure on his tailgate as Lothian starts to creep in. Check out some more stuff back here in the back. Here's Huck Wigington, slides it into the last turn, goes around. These guys, they're slamming on the brakes. They're locking the brakes up, and the ass end of the truck's just sliding around, and they're just trying to keep it straight, but they're trying not to overdrive the corner. The problem is they're putting so much pressure on the brakes that it's locking the truck up, and they're not overdriving it. They're just end up spinning out going on entry.
Yeah, absolutely. Zed Osborne in that 42 machine as we ride on board. He's trying to knock on the door at the top 10. As James D. Morris holds that top 10 spot. Ed Osborne has been racing pretty good here tonight. A little slide outside of the top 10, just that one position. Good lap time, though, with a 114.4. Taylor Peacock, though, in the 81 machine, we saw the early issues out of him. He's moving up, though. The last track remaining on that lead lap with all the damage, everything in this race. Jake still has an opportunity to finish inside the top 15.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was talking about earlier. That's what a lot of drivers are really looking forward to just try to survive. Like Michael McKinnon, seeing him up there in the top 5 all race long. This is what he needs to be able to just survive, have a good finish, be there at the end, get him some points, and get out of Watkins Glen. Taylor Peacock needing to try to get some more spots, which is probably what he really needs, get him some more spots. Obviously, 1 lap down right there in that lucky dog spot, but he can't advance anymore if he keeps passing cars, or passing trucks, that is. He can't advance any more spots, but he can sure as hell lose a lot of spots. So Peacock, he's done some great things here tonight. He just kind of put himself in this position, but I mean, it's just hard racing all around, Will. I mean, this has been crazy for this whole last stage. I mean, honestly, folks, if you were asleep them first 2 stages and you ain't woke up yet, I don't know what to tell you at that point. I mean, this last stage, it's been crazy for about the past 10 laps as we got guys going in. Sentiment looks like he's going in. Looks like that is Cody Knott. I believe he is going in, or it might be Robbie Richards.
Yeah, Robbie Richards down pit road. Jeff Sickles down pit road as well. Cody Knott actually off track there in that 26 machine. He's having some issues on the racetrack. Chris Cinnamon down pit road in that 3 as well. So some guys not having the nights that they had hoped for. That 3 machine of Chris Cinnamon, we saw some issues out of him. No damage though, it looks like though, for that 3 truck. So still with an opportunity to finish pretty good here as he will be the first truck down pit road. Continue to watch the 88 machine, Ashley Dodson, and I gotta say, Jake, this is an incredible run here with tires now. You're going on tires that almost double the length of some of these other guys, and he doesn't look like a care in the world. He's locked in this racetrack.
Yeah, I mean, he is not caring one bit, and Bradley still reeling him in. Obviously, after the little bit of a slide that we saw over there in that first turn, he's starting to reel Dodson back in, as you saw Blake Lothian on pit road just a second ago. And to be honest with you, these guys right here, Dodson and Bradley, we saw the huge lead that they had in the first 2 stages. We saw it. I mean, obviously, the first stage, they had a commanding lead, had over 10 seconds. Now, Stephen Thomas sitting back there in the 3rd spot, about 4.5 seconds back. So they're not going as fast out of that, or the guys that's behind them, they wasn't going as fast. They were saving a little bit, maybe even playing a little bit of a cat and a mouse back there behind these 2 Mission 1 Esports trucks. So, you know, Thomas not too far back. You see him back there in the background of the camera. Thomas is back there. McKinnon, he's back there about 8 seconds. Kyle Hess also up there in the top 5, having a good run for him this evening. So a lot of these drivers right here, they got some shots. As here we go. Dodson, Bradley on pit road. Thomas looks like he is going to stay out on the racetrack. The lead will go to Stephen Thomas.
Michael McKinnon's down as well with these trucks. So we'll have 3 trucks down pit road. It looks like that's Joey Doucette down there at the tail end of these trucks. So 4 trucks down pit road here with 18 laps to go, including our leaders of Ashley Dodson, the 29 machine, of Keith Bradley, who wins this race off of pit road. What a victory this would be, Jake, as we're going to stay right here on pit road to see... Oh, it's the 88 of Ashley Dodson. What a drag race.
Wow, Dodson gets off first. Bradley will come off second. Big time moves right here as you see Lothian back there in the background. We've already seen him make a pit stop. So now he is on fresher tires, obviously, than what he was when he was on that restart when he had Dodson and all that. And I'm sure, honestly, I'm sure that Blake Lothian is thinking about all that happened on that restart, all the hard racing that Dodson was giving him, tagging him in the back bumper, putting a lot of pressure on him. But Lothian's got to sit here and think. Obviously, he is a part-time driver, but as we see Thomas going into pits, but Lothian being a part-time driver, obviously he's got to go out here. He's got to try to do good. He wants to win. He wants a little cash. He wants to get his name called. But smack dab in the middle of a playoff race, I mean, that's got to be, that's got to really start to throw his mind a little bit. But obviously getting roughed up a little bit by Ashley Dodson, I'm sure that's still in the back of his mind.
Yeah, and this would be an absolute sweet one to win, Jake. And you have more experience on the racetrack than I do, but if in a playoff atmosphere, if you can lock yourself into the next round by winning a road course of all things, boy, that would be as almost as sweet as winning the championship.
Well, for me, yeah. I mean, because, obviously I've said on air and I've said publicly, I straight up hate road courses because it's like I said, I'm not good at them. I've never really had a feel for the road courses. I know how to get around them, but I'm just not real big on it. But yeah, I mean, if I was to win a road course race and lock myself into the next round of the playoffs, I mean, hell, I'd take tomorrow off. I'd be celebrating big time. I would be putting back beers. I'd be hitting whiskey at that point. But anyway, that's a big thing. But Ashley Dodson, he's been one of the fastest trucks out here. Obviously, Keith Bradley, he was the fastest truck in qualifying. But Dodson has performed big time here this evening. Actually started right beside of him. So these two, they've been the 2 biggest dogs out here on the track, if you will. Dodson and Bradley. Bradley led for a good portion in stage 1. Then Dodson has found something. Won stage 2. looking like he may be in prime position to end up leading the final stage at the checkered flag and ultimately putting himself into that next round.
As James D. Morris in the 84 machine, he'll head down pit road as well. Here, the only truck in this window with 16 laps to go as we're on board with the 29 machine here in the Nazareth 360 Racing Network. We watched the animal win stage number 1. His Willy Wonka golden ticket got taken away last week with the rookie coming in and locking his position in the next round. That's the 60 machine of Jeff Merck, but our regular season champion of Keith Bradley has yet to lock himself in officially. I believe he's done it on point so far, but officially has yet to lock himself in. Trying to do it here tonight as Ashley Dawson in the 88. He is in the catbird seat as Kyle Hess, Phil Pappas down pit road, leaves Jeff Merck in that 60, the only truck out there. As he heads down, the last truck there, all 3 trucks down. Kyle Hess, Phil Pappas, Jeff Merck as our leader. It will be Ashley Dawson in the 88 as he comes down the front stretch.
Yep, Dodson will get back to the lead, and with 15 laps to go, at this point, basically the crews, or the pit crews, they're just going ahead, packing up the war wagon. They're going to the house at this point. They don't need them anymore at this point. Dodson gets away with the lead. You see Keith Bradley still slipping back there in the clutches. Maybe try to wait just a little bit, have a last lap effort, or a last run effort, if you will, later on in the stages. And Lothian's not too far back either. He's back by about, give or take, about 3 seconds, right behind Ashley Dodson and Keith Bradley. So Lothian's not too far back. Thomas not too far back from Lothian, but Thomas actually got into the fence a couple of laps ago, got into the guardrail through the S's. So Thomas may have a little bit of extra damage on that truck, but we still watch the battle for the lead and potentially the win between Ashley Dodson and the animal Keith Bradley.
And as they say in NBA Jam, he is on fire. The 88 machine of Ashley Dodson just ran his fastest lap of the race so far, a 1:13 flat. And I gotta say though, Keith Bradley and Morton, the 29 machine, he was right there as well, ran a 1:13 flat. We'll see what they ran this time by. Will get better, gets just a tad slower, although for the 29 machine of Keith Bradley right there with a 1:13.8. These guys are absolutely moving on these fresh tires.
Yeah, I mean, they are absolutely moving. And you just mentioned it right there, hitting a 1:13 flat the last lap. They're mimicking qualifying times. That's what they ran in qualifying. That's what Ashley Dodson ran, a 1:13.090 in qualifying. Obviously, Keith Bradley, the only driver in the field in qualifying that hit a 1:12. But Bradley matching pace right now with Ashley Dodson, staying right behind him. And as well as you mentioned numerous times, I mean, that's what Bradley does. He is the animal. He lays in the weeds, waiting to pounce. He tries to put the pressure to try to make whoever it is in front of him, whether that be Dodson, whether that be Merck, whether that be Lothian, anybody in the field, lay in the weeds, try to fill that mirror full, even if it's a teammate. Fill the mirror full, try to get them to slip, and then slip past them when the time is right.
Yeah, he is just waiting his time there behind the back bumper at the 88 machine of Ashley Dodson, as our top 2 competitors now have a 3-second lead on the 43 truck of Blake Lothian. They're in that 3rd position. Stephen Thomas currently in that 23 is in 4th. Michael McKinnon with a great run here so far in that 5th spot. Kyle Hess down in 6th. Phil Pappas 7th. Joey Doucette, the Joker, the 16 machine, currently in that 8th spot. Jeff Merck, last week's winner. Jake, we talked about it, though. He got everything he needed to get done last week here tonight, just having a bit of fun at a road course. And then our top 10 will be bookended by the 42 truck of Ed Osborne, as we're going to jump on board with the 85 of Phil Pappas.
Phil Pappas still trying to see if he can run down Kyle Hess and jump up another spot in the running order. Kyle Hess sitting comfortably in that 6th spot, as well mentioned. Phil Pappas right behind him. Check it out right here. Pappas goes into the bus stop, hits the curb, hits this curb, goes back to the left, goes back to the right, and then, as I mentioned, going through this carousel. Watch the wheel right here as he's got it going to the right here, trying to see if he can keep the truck straight. And then coming out of the carousel, you see it come to the left just a little bit. There it was, right there, just to try to get it back straight, because the back end of the truck, obviously, it wants to keep turning when he's coming off of the corner. but able to just straighten it back out, check it out, going through the last couple of turns right here. You see a lot of wiggling in the wheel, just trying to make sure that truck is straight. It's the curb just a little bit, jumps down, hits the curb once again, back to the line. And Pappas really putting the pressure on. I mean, honestly, it's unfortunate. Honestly, Will, for Phil Pappas, as I mentioned earlier, won at the Milwaukee Mile earlier on this season, and he's had a fantastic season. He really has. It's just unfortunate that he's not in the playoffs.
And Jake, I wanted to ask you here as we're riding on board the 88 machine of Ashley Dotson, and he's holding off the animal of Keith Bradley here with 12 laps to go. You know, at other racetracks, super speedways, short tracks, you can sort of let the trucks do their thing. What I mean by that is as you go into the corner, you can let off. You know, you can decelerate. You let gravity do its thing. Here at a road course, my question to you, Jake, is how much more arm movement, hand movement are these drivers now having to put forth in a race like this? There's not many corners we can, quote unquote, let the truck do its thing.
Yeah, I mean, well, honestly, there is no corners that you can let the truck do its thing. I mean, you're basically coming off of every single corner, left, right, trying to get, just trying to keep the truck straight. And obviously, with throttle management, as I mentioned before, that egg under the pedal. And folks, if this is your first broadcast with Nazareth, I'm gonna go ahead and give you the rundown on that. If it is, screw it, just sit here and listen to it. What I mean by that is you got the pedal, you got an egg up under the pedal. If you put too much throttle down on the egg, you're going to break it. I mean, if you put too much throttle down, if you put the pedal all the way down, the egg's up under it, you're going to break it. So you want to try to keep that egg from breaking and be able to throttle manage yourself coming off the corner. Because right here, where they're coming through this carousel, if you just flat out send it right there where Bradley is, and you saw it right there, he tried it. He tried to put down as much throttle as he could to try to run down Dodson. You saw that truck snap a little bit, had to bring it back to the left. So I think it's more throttle management really than it is with the wheel just trying to let it carry itself around the track. I think a lot of this is throttle management. And obviously from what we've seen going into the corners, it's about locking your brakes up as well.
Yeah, and that throttle management is absolutely key, Jake. And I love listening to you break that down all the time. It's that egg behind the pedal. You can't be too aggressive. You can't want to just drive out of these corners. You can't, although you get very, very close to a guy in the corner, Jake, you can't want to get on that gas pedal. You got to stay to the same rhythm the entire race. And right now, the 29 machine is staying to that rhythm, locked in. But we'll jump back to some more battles on the racetrack here as we go around a lap truck. It's just virtually these two guys as our top two drivers have a 6-second lead on Blake Lothian, the 43.
You see Lothian way back there in the background, but he's still in the picture, folks. I mean, he's still back there, 6 seconds back, but still has a shot right here with both of these guys. I mean, obviously, as I mentioned, Mission 1 Esports teammates, but they know what's at stake. They know that a win is at stake. Dodson, he gets a win, he's locked in. Bradley, we've talked about Keith Bradley. He's more or less locked in, I guess you could say. I mean, all he's got to do is just show up for the next two races. But with a win, he still gets playoff points. It still pads his lead, still helps him get through the next round if he needs it. So as many playoff points as you can get, you've got to think about yourself to make sure that you can get to that final round when we come to the final race here in the next couple of months. So, I mean, that's what's at stake right here. It's more playoff points, and it's a lot to get into the next round. And obviously, Ashley Dodson, he's got some playoff points as well. So that's what's at stake here, folks. A win, obviously, you know, the champagne, all that stuff, but playoff points and locking yourself in. Even though they're teammates, it's still going to be a fight to the end as they go through the bus stop.
Yeah, as we watch our leaders head through the bus stop, Ashley Dawson, the 88, the 29 machine of Keith Bradley. They're 1-2 on the racetrack, virtually been 1-2 all race along. Keith Bradley won stage 1. Ashley Dawson won stage 2. They're 1-2 on the racetrack now with 9 laps to go. And you touched on it, though, Jake, some drivers that have had difficult nights. And one guy that I'm looking at here who now has to win at Homestead for any shot of advancing to the next round. I can say it now. Jacob Klinker in the 5. Came into this race 30 points below that cut line. Now with a race here tonight at DNF, going into Homestead, a win is the only way we'll see the 5 in the next round.
And that's actually not a bad track for Jacob Klinkhardt. I've had the privilege of actually racing with him earlier on in the simracer.com truck series on Monday nights. They actually ran at Homestead earlier on in their season. I had the pleasure of jumping in the truck and running in that race. And I'm going to tell you right now, that cat right there, he can roll at Homestead. I've raced door to door with him, and he don't give an inch. Honestly, Will, I mean, he did not give an inch that night and put on a fantastic show. Maybe even cracked the top 5. I believe that's where he finished, was inside the top 5, was Jacob Klinkhardt. So Klinkhardt, he's no slouch at Homestead. He's going to be one of those guys that we're really going to be watching next week. If he can jump up there, maybe dethrone Keith Bradley and Jeff Merck, who've been up here basically waxing everybody in this series. But I'm going to tell you right now, Keith Bradley, he's been waxing people. He's the regular season champion. But Ashley Dodson, he's been waxing them all here this evening.
Oh, absolutely. The 88 machine's been looking good. He came into this race as the 4th seed. If he can hold off the animal here, he'll go into the next round. He'll punch his ticket. Again, keeping the 29 machine of Keith Bradley out of that next round. Of course, mathematically, Keith Bradley came into this race 56 points to the good. He will be into the next round, folks. You don't have to worry, but he won't get in with a victory. That's something we're used to seeing, especially coming into this playoff races. The 29 machine of Keith Bradley was on a hot streak heading in.
Yeah, I mean, he was on a hot streak. I mean, granted, you touched base on it at Darlington. I mean, he had a very, very fast truck, had a good shot at trying to get the win, but obviously getting into the fence just a couple of times maybe have been just too much for the animal to try to overcome. Check this out back here, a battle for 3rd back here. Lothian and Thomas really starting to duke it out as they go through the carousel. And Thomas, we talked about Stephen Thomas. He kind of got into the guardrail just a little bit through the S's right after they started the 3rd stage. So Thomas, I mean, he has started to reel back in Blake Lothian. It should be a good fight for that 3rd spot as the real action is starting to heat up for this lead. Bradley really starting to put the pressure on Dodson. I believe it's go time now.
Yeah, it is absolute go time. The 29 machine of Keith Bradley knows what's at stake here. I just mentioned it, folks. He can lock himself in. He is in on points, but I know a victory is going to feel so good. You talked about the troubles at Darlington. Bounced off the wall a couple times. Came home 5th. Didn't even finish on the podium. Not something we've seen at all out of the 29 machine. It's either podiums or a bust. It's a Ricky Bobby style of competition there for the 29 machine. If you ain't first, you're last. He's trying to get to that 1st spot right now, but Ashley Dodson doing a great job holding it down through the bus stop here as we have 6 laps to go in the Robin Doucette Memorial.
And Dodson's still trying to hold on to it. Dodson's actually been slipping and sliding over the past couple of laps. Bradley's really been starting to put the pressure on him, maybe even trying to intimidate him just a little bit. Shout out to the late, great Dale Earnhardt for that comment. But Dodson, he has been able to try to keep that truck straight. As wow, sent it into that second to last corner. I mean, the whole back end of the truck looked like it slid out just a little bit. There he goes into the last corner. Back end slides out a little bit more. Almost gets into the safer barrier as they come off of the last corner. I mean, these guys are straight up duking it out for this lead as these guys right behind them, Lothian and Thomas, still trying to battle it out for that podium spot.
Yeah, and as these trucks are slip sliding around the Glen, I gotta say, Han would be proud of the way these guys are able to maintain that slide and get back on that gas pedal. Shout out to Tokyo Drift because Stephen Thomas there in that 23 machine, he's gonna drift up the racetrack and maybe snatch the position away from Blake Lothian in that 43 truck. Blake Lothian thought he was locked into the podium. He better hold up and wait a minute because here comes the 23 machine of Stephen Thomas, who's been on a tear, up 16 spots in this race, trying to make it 17 if he can get around the 43 as we head into the bus stop.
And I was just fixing to say what is going to give as they go into the bus stop with both of these guys, but Thomas gets out of the gas. Lothian jumps right down in front of him, but Thomas really starting to, like I said earlier, put the pressure on Lothian. Lothian may be feeling a little bit of heat right now from Stephen Thomas. Thomas really starting to get after him, and up front, Bradley still trying to get after Ashley Dodson as now we're coming to 4 laps to go. Ashley Dodson still leading here at Watkins Glen.
And folks, these are the only battles on the racetrack right now. We have a battle for first and we have a battle for third on the racetrack. No better battles to have if we don't have any. Jake, as we head down with 4 laps to go, Ashley Dawson trying to keep the animal Keith Bradley, our regular season champion, out of the next round on a win. Ashley Dawson can punch that ticket with a win. We're also watching Blake Lothian, that 43 truck. He has the most wins in this series, a part-time driver. He's trying to get a podium victory, keep Stephen Thomas, our hard charger of this race, off the podium. All of this 4 laps to go in the Robin Doucette Memorial.
And here we go into the bus stop with Thomas and Lothian. Lothian hits the curb. Thomas hits it as well. Coming up on a lap truck, that is Zach Hartwick smack dab in front of him. One guy way off the pace, smoking as they come into the carousel. Hopefully he'll be able to get it back around and not bring out a caution and not hurt any of this race. And Hartwick jumps way out. Thomas, wow, almost lost it right there coming out of the carousel. That is very, very tough corner right there to try to keep it straight. But wow, I mean, a lot of landmines, I guess you could say, with lap cars all over the place. And coming to 3 laps to go, Dodson still has the lead over Keith Bradley.
Yeah, Ashley Dodson, throw up those 3s. Rest in peace to Dale Earnhardt, especially here at a road course. Remember, Dale was good at road courses, Jake. Can't forget about that right here as Keith Bradley in that 29 machine is trying to reel in the 88 of Ashley Dodson. Oh my goodness, look at that slide, Jake. The 88 is absolutely sliding around the corners.
He is working the wheel big time all the way around the road course, and now the animal knows that it is time to pounce. Really starting to put the pressure on. Dodson's been slipping and sliding all the way around. Here he goes into the carousel. Dodson's still sliding, trying to hold on to it, jumps off over the curb, but wow, able to keep the truck straight as Bradley's still trying to reel him in as they come into the final 2 turns, coming to 2 laps to go.
It's the rumble in the jungle as the animal in the 29 machine, he is trying to get Ashley Dodson, the 88. The kangaroo is leading the race here. The man out of Australia has victories in this series this year. 2 laps to go. He has been one of the top dogs this year. He's trying to make it known by snatching this road course out of the way, making it the second driver locked into the next round. It looks as though he is looking good as we climb the hill. 29 has some work to do.
Bradley's still got some work to do. 2 laps to go. Dodson really sliding around right here in these S's. That's really where Keith Bradley has been really starting to make up some ground on him. And much like right here in the bus stop, Bradley starts to send it in. Dodson slides going into the first couple of corners in that and then comes straight out. Bradley all over his tailgate as they come out of the carousel. Watch Dodson right here. He's going to slip just a little bit. Still sliding, but tries to keep it down as low as he can. Wow, Dodson almost loses it as he hits the rumble strip. Bradley still trying to find a way around him as they come into the white flag.
As the battle ensues into the corner, the 88 machine on the low side of the racetrack. Oh, 29 machine and Keith Bradley into the wall! Oh no! Nose first into the wall! Keith Bradley wrecks coming off of the corner. Ashley Dodson by himself. Heavy damage to the 29 machine as the 88 takes the white flag into 1.
And not to mention, here comes Lothian, here comes Thomas. They may be easing up here and maybe try to jump and leapfrog Keith Bradley, but at this point, Dodson can basically just send it all the way to the next round. Nobody even around him. Right behind him, Bradley still trying to get back up to speed. Lothian, Thomas still trying to battle it out for that podium spot, but they are reeling in Keith Bradley in a hurry. May end up putting both of them on the podium at the end of this thing as Dodson really starting to check out now on the animal Keith Bradley.
What a win this is going to be for the 88 machine of Ashley Dodson. We talked about it. Has wins this season, maybe overshadowed by some of the other top dogs this year. The 88, though, looks as though he'll be the second truck locked into the next round, the Fast 14, with an incredible performance here tonight for the Stage 2 victory. He holds off the animal of Keith Bradley in that 29 machine. as Keith Bradley will fall short as the 88 machine of Ashley Dodson will take home the checkered flag in the Robin Doucette Memorial.
Great win by the Kangaroo, as Will said just a second ago, the Australian with my southern accent. Ashley Dodson gets the win. Lothian just barely able to beat out Thomas. Maybe a little bit of a love tap right there to the back of Lothian. What was up with that? Bradley able to still hold on to that second spot, but Ashley Dodson checked out, was able to hold down the truck and beat the pressure. Bradley, honestly, I think the pressure just might have just got to him, honestly, Will. And I think that's what happened right there when Bradley got it loose, slapped it straight into the fence. As you see him coming around right here to congratulate his teammate, Ashley Dodson, 100% guaranteed into the next round here in the Concerns of Police Survivors Truck Series playoffs. Congratulations to Ashley Dodson on the win.
Yeah, and this is one of those wave maker victories, I believe, for the 88. You know, he's got some guys now as his teammate in the 29 machine coming up to let him know what's up as well. And that was an incredible battle. We watched that for about 15, 20 laps between these two guys, and the 29 machine absolutely raced his tail off in that second spot, did everything he could to match step for step with that 88. They were putting up fast lap times, their best lap times of the entire night. But at the end, the man who conquers the road course here at the Glen has been a man who is on a mission this year. He is at a disadvantage with the time zones, but don't tell him that because he picks up another victory as he's burning it down on the front stretch here at the Glen.
Burning it down. Shout out to Parker McCullum for his single, as that was obviously the song a little bit different than what he is doing right now. But Ashley Dodson, and Will, you give him the nickname the Kangaroo. Honestly, I've got a nickname for him at this point. I'm gonna call him Mr. Outback, and for that reason is basically he just took everybody out back of the woodshed and just spanked them here this evening at Watkins Glen. Ashley Dodson gets the win. Keith Bradley, the animal, he will get second. Lothian gets third. Stephen Thomas will get fourth. Michael McKinnon needed a good run tonight, and he got it, getting a top 5 finish. Good run for him. Kyle Hess gets sixth. Phil Pappas will get seventh. Jeff Mert, after the earlier troubles, gets eighth. He hasn't got to worry about it. He's locked in to the next round of the playoffs. Joey Doucette will get ninth, and Ed Osborne rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, the last two trucks remaining on the lead lap, and I love that. So we will dub the Ashley Dodson the Outback Man. I like that there, Jake. But we look at Chris Cinnamon, James D. Morris there, 11th, 12th. Zach Hartwig there in the 13th spot. He'll be the first truck a lap down. Taylor Peacock there in the 14th position. Adam Newton, 15th. Raul Meza, 16th. Dana Shepard, 17th. Justin Lumpkin, 18th here tonight. Looking at the rest of the field thereafter, Justin Lumpkin, Cody Knott, 19th, Hug Whittington, 20th, Brand Blood, 21st, Jeff Sickles, 22nd, Jacob Blinkart, 23rd. We talked about what he has to do next week at Homestead, has to go on to win that race to advance to the next round. Robbie Richards finishes 24th, Chris Blanchard, 25th. Justin White made his mandatory appearance in this race from what he said after in the post-race chat. And TJ Moore, Ted Wade rounds out our field here tonight. But without further ado, folks, let's get to a man who has locked himself into the Fast 14. Our second driver locked in with a huge victory here at the Glen. Holds off the animal to get it done. Ashley Dodson at 88, you win the Robin Doucette Memorial. Take us through this victory here tonight.
Oh man, it was a hell of a battle. Just if Keith could put any more of a harder fight, I'm sweating as it is. He did a hell of a run to keep with me, and it's just a pity that we got side by side and forced him to get onto the ripple strip. And from there on, I think he bounced, and that was it. He kind of lost all the traction in the back, and he was along for the ride.
And actually, I got to ask you, my man, I asked Jake up here in the booth, what are the biggest keys to taking home a checkered flag at a road course? You know, in this series of this league, we go to super speedways, we go to short tracks, things like that. But you did it here tonight. You took home the checkered flag. What are the things that a driver needs to know You know, you go right, left, the shifting, all those things put into one. You got it here tonight.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, well, I come from more of a road racing sort of country where you guys are obviously more invested in the oval, so it's only natural I'm gonna have a bit more road practice than most, but it's just consistency and braking. If you can figure those two out and string them together, then you're pretty well 70% of the way, you know.
And
But in
Ashley,
saying that, it's hard to dial in.
sorry to cut you off, mate. It's because we
Okay.
drive on the right side of the road, don't we?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it too. I think
exactly.
I have a
Sorry,
bit of
guys.
advantage. You know?
Good. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Good job, mate.
Wait, let's do it.
And Jake, as we have the 88 machine of Ashley Dotson, the winner of the first annual Robin Doucette Memorial Race here on these fantastic Friday nights. Anything for a man who, I would have to say, Jake, is the first guy that we've seen take on the animal one-on-one and come out victorious.
Yeah, I mean, Ashley Dotson able to get it done tonight. And, honestly, Ashley, me and Will, we were talking about it. He was going to call you the kangaroo. But, I think we've dubbed you Mr. Outback or the Outback man, if you will, because basically you just took everybody to or out back of the woodshed and just absolutely spanked them tonight. But, I mean, what's this win, mean for you? Obviously, getting locked into the next round, but obviously getting some extra playoff points to help you out. I mean, this has got to be big for you, especially from last week when you got the hard luck award winner. It's got to be a great feeling to go ahead and get you a win here this evening.
Yeah, definitely. It's like you come into the end of the season, you know who the key players are going to be. You know you need to be on top of your game. So, even did it tonight with someone trying to intentionally take me out, and I mean, took 2 swipes at it and still ended up in the wall. So, I mean, I hope it looked good for him. But yeah, let's bring on the next couple of rounds and see what everyone's got. It's only just going to get harder from here, and everyone's just going to peak when it comes to competition.
That real quick. I mean, you ain't got to tell me who it is, but you're saying that there is beef, so I can go ahead and say that on the broadcast. There is beef out there somewhere else, somehow, some way, right?
I mean, you call it beef. It was more payback for me and the whole caution deal, taking out Joey, and I accept that. But I mean, you swiped me once, good try, and swiped me twice, and still failed and looked like a clown. So, I mean, you tried it, but I mean, I think you've taken your swipe. You can't try it twice. You do it again, it's on you.
Well, Ashley, you'll be definitely having steak and eggs for breakfast this morning with a victory here in the Robin Doucette Memorial. Is there anybody that you want to shout out or any sponsors you'd like to thank that put you in victory lane here tonight?
Nah, just the main people. Obviously, you guys for starters for calling out such a great race and putting all this together. And giving up your weekends and everything to make it happen. The main series title, Concerns of Police Survivors, and of course everyone at Mission 1. I mean, hell of a team to be put together and run the way we do each week, and yeah, it's just awesome.
Our winner of the Robin Doucette Memorial here at Watkins Glen, the 88 machine of Ashley Dotson. We appreciate you taking the time with us, my man. You can take a sigh of relief next week as you are locked in to the Fast 14.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
That was Ashley Dotson in that 88, comes home victorious. But Jake, I believe you're catching up with a man that he was able to beat, and he talked about that one-on-one battle here with the 29 machine of Keith Bradley. It was a heavyweight battle that almost lasted to the very, very, very last lap of this race. You're catching up with the animal of the 29 machine, Keith Bradley.
Yeah, Keith Bradley got him right here on the Nazareth 360 Racing Network. I mean, Keith, you put up a hell of a fight, honestly, with Ashley. And, obviously both of you are teammates, but obviously you want to win, want to try to get those playoff points. I mean, is there anything that you could have done different? Because it just seemed like it was just a bad spot where you was at. And that's kind of what killed it, I guess you could say. I mean, was there anything that you could have done differently right there?
I don't think so. I wasn't expecting to get the run to his outside right there. And I was like, well, I'll just carry it. And then I went across the curb and it just upset the truck. And I was hanging on. Like I told Ashley after the race, I think the only way that I could have completed a pass on him was by moving him. But it's big picture racing. That's a teammate. I'd rather not move a teammate for a win. I think we're good for the next round as far as advancing. I think we're sitting in a good spot as far as points goes, where we're not in a win and you're in situation. So there wasn't really a desperation move, but it was good hard racing. I think we kept it pretty clean. I think me and Ashley put on a hell of a show, and it was a ton of fun.
Yeah, I mean, it was a ton of fun. And one thing I do want to go back to, at the start of the third stage, all right, Lothian, he ends up staying out, and y'all are trying to find a way around Lothian. And I'm going to tell you right now, I was on the edge of my seat. I literally jumped up and about knocked the chair out of the way because y'all were beating the hell out of him trying to find a way around him. I mean, that was some of the best racing that I've seen on a road course in quite some time when y'all were trying to find or y'all's way around Blake Lothian, and you're behind all of it. You're not really making any contact, but you're sitting there watching. I mean, what's going through your mind with all of that going on?
Well, on the start there, I had Jacob Klinghardt in front of me. He was on older tires also, so I had to fight that. And then I think I put him in a bad situation that I probably shouldn't have put him in. But at that time, I got newer tires. I got to go. I can't let Ashley distance himself and then me burn my stuff up catching him. And then when I got to him and Blake, and I just eased up off the gas a little bit. I let them two settle it. I thought they were going to wreck each other, and then I would have been in the catbird seat. The way I was thinking, it was senseless for me to go up and put my nose in it, and then 3 trucks wreck. I waited for Ashley to make his move, and then I threw a bonsai move down into the bus stop. And sorry to Blake, I didn't mean to do it, but I mean, I had to go when Ashley went, so I had to keep pace with him. And hats off to Ashley, he drove a hell of a race. I think it was a 1-2 finish for Mission 1 Esports, so Brady should be happy.
Absolutely, Brady should be happy. Keith Bradley, the animal, getting second, and not officially. We'll have to look at how the points and everything comes out, but I believe you are 100% safe next week. I mean, by all means, show up, but I mean, you should be perfectly free and clear to be able to go to the next round. And Keith, before we let you go, have you got anybody that you want to thank, bud?
Oh, absolutely. I thank Nazra 360 Racing Network for jumping on board this season. It's been a hell of a ride. It's been a lot of fun. Warrior Wraps, Pulse Poppers, Blanchard's Towing, concerns of police survivors for being the title sponsor and everything they do within Nazra, outside of Nazra, the things that they do within the general public with what they do. It's a great organization. I'm thrilled to have them on board as the title sponsor. Everybody that tunes in and watches, it's awesome to put on a hell of a show for people that watch, and it's always fun to go back and watch. And you guys for showing up every Friday nights, and Jake, Will, Dean, Brady, everybody at Mission 1 Esports, man. I keep pounding on this drum that I think we're the strongest team in Nazra, and I'll live and die on that hill.
You'll think y'all strong on Friday nights. Wait till next season for the Monday night series. I'll just be honest with you on that one. But Keith Bradley getting the second place finish, 1-2 finish for Mission 1 Esports. Keith, congratulations on the second place finish. Hopefully we'll talk to you at Homestead.
Thank you guys. You guys have a good weekend.
You too, buddy. That is the animal, Keith Bradley, getting second tonight. Had a fantastic run, but talking about Blake Lothian right there with that little bonsai move, I guess you could say. Will, are you catching up with Blake?
Yeah, catching up with a man who holds the most wins in the series this year, the 43 truck of Blake Lothian. We saw him racing up there for the lead at points during this race, but he will finish on the podium in that third spot. Blake, take us through your experience at the Glen here tonight.
My goodness, it was up and down. We started off, with a poor qualifying effort to say the least, and we were mired back pretty deep in the field. And luckily, my crew chief Mike Sargent was able to get us out of there. And we had a lot of pit strategy. Luckily, it ended up playing out and ended up getting third there. Luckily, racing real hard with our teammate there, Stephen Thomas, and he races clean, races hard, and we ended up not knocking fenders at all. So definitely cannot complain at all.
Was there any talk over the radio between you and the 23 machinist Stephen Thomas, seeing as though he is racing for a championship and you're a part-time driver, or was it just, you boys are going to go at it on the racetrack?
I just figured, we're both going to go at it. At the end of the day, we're both trying to race for as best position as possible. There's also that fine line of, racing too hard with a teammate who is in the playoffs. And, if it comes down to one point, then, you're kind of frowned upon, to say the least. But, it's that balancing act that you have to play. Same time, it's just I try to just race my own race. Same time, I acknowledge that my teammates are around, and I just race them a little bit cleaner. Try to cut them more breaks if I possibly can. And say if he had a run on the inside before, I would have definitely given him a run. But of course, at the end of the race, I feel like the gloves are off.
And I love asking you this question, Blake, because you're a non-championship driver, but you also have the most wins in the series this year, and then you also get another podium finish here tonight. Is it sort of an advantage not to have to worry about the stresses of points or championships at the end, where your only main mission is a checkered flag every night?
I think for sure, because I don't have to worry about stage points or finishing well in the stages. So I can kind of do a little bit of different strategy and try to short pit. Say we had a yellow 5 before the end of stage 2. I can pit early, get the track position, and go from there. So I feel like it is an advantage for sure. I tend to thrive under pressure. I tend to think so. I prefer to be in the playoffs, but circumstances did not allow that this year.
And looking at Homestead next week, will we see you in action next week? And what's your schedule like the remaining of the year here in the Concerns of Police Survivors Truck Series?
I believe so. I hope to be racing the rest of the season. Obviously all pending on my real life schedule and what all comes up. We're working on some pretty big stuff on in the background, and hopefully gonna get stuff all squared away. Hopefully in the next coming weeks, months, and we'll see what all comes together.
There we go. But with a third place finish here tonight, Blake, it's another podium in that stat column. Anybody you want to shout out here tonight on this fantastic Friday, or any sponsors that helped you get on that podium here tonight?
Of course, first I have to thank Sick with the Motorsports, Jeff Sickles, for the opportunity to be able to race here. All my teammates for racing me clean, racing me hard all night long. Mike Sargent for being the crew chief, man. He did like a ton of data gathering today just to make sure we had every single strategy. We had plan A, plan B, and plan C. Luckily, we stuck with plan A all night, but we had all these backup plans and everything just in case. Definitely have to thank Joseph for spotting tonight as well. We practically stacked our deck in the session, so we had all the people. On top of that, gotta thank Wings and Wheels, Redline Detection, GGT Energy Solutions, Wings and Wheels Foundation, El Bandito, Yankee Tequila, the Texas Law Book, and POTUS ABC Kids.
Great run here tonight out of the 43 truck of Blake Lothian. Blake, we appreciate you taking the time with us, my man. Cannot wait to see you next week at Homestead.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And great broadcast as always. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you. That was the 43 truck of Blake Lothian, our third place finisher here tonight in the Robin Doucette Memorial. It was a great race here tonight, Jake. Sometimes you get a little nervous about these road courses. It tends to be a little boring, to say the least. One guy can tend to dominate. That wasn't the case here tonight. We had a great battle for the lead ending up to the last lap. We had a great battle for that third position as well. Drivers, different pit strategies throughout the race. It was a pretty good night here tonight at the Glen.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, folks, I mean, when I say that, Watkins Glen or much less road courses are not necessarily my style, what I mean by that is sometimes they tend to get, I guess you could say, a little bit boring when they get strung out. Well, first two stages, everybody had their strategy. I mean, you got everything that you wanted out of this race, much like you have all season long. You had your crashes, you had your strategy, but then you had some hard, excellent racing in that third stage. When, I mean, you saw it up front. Lothian was up there. Dodson was up there. Bradley, Stephen Thomas, all those guys that was up there at the front, they put on a hell of a show, and every single one of them said the same thing. Dodson said it, Bradley said it, and even Lothian said it. You heard them right here on the broadcast. Every single one of them. That battling back in that part, I mean, it raised the intensity level. Everybody was, glued to it. I was glued to it. Will was glued to it. Hell, even Dean Hopton, the guy that's producing this right here, was glued to it. It was a fantastic race all the way to the end. You had your strategy. Congratulations to the Australian, the Outback man, or Mr. Outback, however you want to look at Ashley Dodson, going into Homestead next week. He'll be locked in, but wow, I mean, some of these guys that put down some fantastic finishes, Michael McKinnon up here, Stephen Thomas, and then the likes of you. I mean, you called it Jacob Klinkart needing to win to be able to go into the next round. Obviously, was 30 points back going into this race. It's going to be really, really interesting to see next week at Homestead, folks. Everybody, tune in next week. It's going to be a fantastic race. I cannot wait to see it at Homestead.
Talking about Homestead next week, these are the drivers that will have work to do. As the points have been released, you can stay tuned to at Nazareth Racing on Facebook, our Twitter page, or here on YouTube as well. Jacob Klinkart, Justin Lumpkin, Justin White, Dana Shepard, and Brandon Bullock would be those drivers, and Zach Hartwick would be the drivers eliminated if the season ended today. Those are the drivers that have work to do at Homestead next week. Of course, that race can be caught right here at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Nazareth 360 Racing Network. We can't leave this fantastic Friday night without thanking our wonderful sponsors, one of which is Concerns of Police Survivors. And folks, we've mentioned it a million times here on this broadcast. Please go jump over to concernsofpolicesurvivors.org. Check out all the wonderful things they do for the community and those families that suffer through those losses. And it just supports the men and women in blue. And here today on this Veterans Day, we invite you to go check them out. We also want to thank Flieger Farm Paint Shop for being our Hard Luck Award winner. Go jump on over to Flieger Farm Paint Shop today. Ask Adam about that free paint scheme today for first-time customers. Also, our race here tonight is in dedication to Robin Doucette, the wonderful mom and the wonderful contributor here at Nazareth. Was a huge fan here, not only the 16 machine, but would watch the races here at Nazareth. Robin, this race is for you, and I'm just so honored to announce that we'll have a race here every Friday night in her honor. But folks, that will do it for us here tonight at the Glen, and it is the Outback. Man, folks, you get a couple wins here in this series. You get a nickname. He earns one here tonight at the Glen with a great performance holding off the animal. But for myself, William Tiller, Mr. Jake Reeves, Dean Hopton, the man providing all those sights and sounds here tonight on the Nazareth 360 Racing Network, we want to wish Ashley Dotson, once again, congratulations. And we'll see everybody back here at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as this field heads to an elimination race at South Beach. Everybody, have a great weekend. We'll see you then.